And our plenary session 2 is on strengthening household financial resilience, role of social security. Ladies and gentlemen, this plenary session will explore the vital role of microinsurance, WASH, and other social protection products in enhancing financial resilience of underserved population. Ladies and gentlemen, this session will also examine the policy frameworks and technological innovations that can facilitate broader access to microinsurance and social protection services. Please join me as I request our honorable speakers of the session to join us onto the stage. May I request Deputy Editor, CNBCTV 18, Ms. Ritu Singh, who is the moderator of the session, to kindly join us onto the stage. Inviting Ms. Ritu Singh onto the stage. May I also request our distinguished speakers of the session to join us onto the stage. Inviting on stage DMD NABARD, Dr. Ajay Kumar Sood, CEO NPS Trust, Ms. Suparna Tandon, CGM PFRDA, Mr. Ashish Kumar, Chairman and MD and CEO, SATYA MicroCapital Limited, Mr. Vivek Tiwari, Regional Director, South Asia Water.org, Mr. Manoj Gulati, CEO, SKDRDP, BC Trust, Mr. Anil Kumar. May I request everyone present in the hall to kindly settle down? And without any further ado, may I request the moderator of the session, Ms. Ritu Singh, to kindly take over. Over to you, ma'am. Check.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here in the audience. The topic of our conversation is strengthening household financial resilience and the role of social security products in that. Just to set some context, financial inclusion has deepened significantly in India. If you look at the data from the International Labour Organization, we've gone from social security coverage being 19% in 2015 to about 64% as of 2025. That is quite the feat. But if you look deeper into these numbers, true financial resilience is still a challenge. We're talking of a single product coverage, perhaps not the kind of comprehensive coverage that one would hope for. A single health emergency, a crop loss, an unexpected emergency. It can wipe out years of hard work for some of these low-income households. So building resilience requires not just credit, which is now, of course, spreading thanks to some of the Jan Dhan schemes, etc., but also protection to build resilience with pension, with security, with insurance, and access to essential services. So on that note, we're privileged to have with us leaders that represent, I believe, the entire ecosystem, on my right side, from policy, regulation, practice to very much on the grassroots, to explore how we can create a more secure financial future for India's underserved communities. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for being here, and thank you all for being here. Mr. Ajay Sood, since you're here on my right, let me start with you on that data about social security coverage for India, of course, has expanded all the way to 64%. That's the data. But help us really break that down into why, coverage has not really translated into security, especially for some of these low-income households.
Thank you very much for inviting us here. It's right that the coverage has increased. The financial inclusion index has also increased. But if you see RBI's financial inclusion index, there is something called access usage. Separate things are there. So I'll start with a very, very simple example, which is a very, very practical example. When there is a road construction, highway construction or national highway construction, there is land acquisition. And many of the farmers, particularly falling in the rural area, they get a lot of money. Now, what is to be done with that money? How to use that money productively and efficiently? That is a big challenge. And we have seen that many of, or I would say some of the farmers, we have practically seen that they have lost their money within months because they did not know what to do with this money. So similar is the case with this social security and other products as well. If you do not know what is to be done, how to use them how to claim it, how to renew them.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big challenge. I think that is one of the major reason. So lack of awareness is one area which needs to be addressed. And second thing is that there is a narrow product focus also.
Okay.
So particularly if you see the coverage under various social security schemes, so coverage under health, crop insurance particularly, which affects your financial resilience and the livelihood security, that is very limited. Though under certain other products where the focus is there, the coverage must be higher. But because if I talk particularly of health insurance, then the out-of-pocket expenses, that is very high, still around 40%. So if 40% expenses is going from your pocket, then it hits your purse and it hits your financial resilience. So I think these are some of the major regions which need to be addressed by various policies.
So that's plenty of food for thought, and we'll dwell on some of those issues in detail, hopefully through the course of this conversation. But Suparna, 7.6 crore, I believe, Atal Pension Yojana subscribers, and pension coverage in, with the 140 billion population still at 5%. That is an abysmal number. And when you talk to people from these low-income households, you'll often hear things like, retirement is not for us. We have to work till our very last day. How do you convince them, especially people from the weaker segments, to ensure that these small, consistent savings every day can lead to a more dignified future?
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Sa-Dhan for inviting me here. It's a great privilege to be among so many esteemed co-panelists. Now, coming to the question that Ritu just asked, that's something that we grapple with in the NPS Trust and PFRDA almost every day. How do you bring the informal sector, particularly people from the weaker sections, socioeconomically backward sections within the pension fold? Because we're talking about perhaps making a choice. Sometimes it's a binary choice between meeting today's requirement rather than thinking about the future. So how do we make it non-binary? So to do that, first we need to understand what is this informal sector that we are talking about. And that number is something like about 44 crore. If we want to look at the behavioral or the disaggregated pattern of the informal workers, if you look at the eShram portal, around 31 crore people have registered there. There you find that about 16 crore are agricultural workers, small and marginal farmers, laborers. They have different risk and income kind of patterns. You have about 3 crore which are domestic workers, different risk appetites, cash flows, different kind of household expenditures. You have 3 crore which are construction workers. You have 2 crore which are in the garment industry. So obviously it's not a very, very homogeneous section that we're talking about. And then you also have this gig economy which all of us keep talking about now, the platform workers, the non-platform workers, the taxi drivers, right? So that's going to be around another 2.35 crore by the end of this decade. So the first and foremost thing is not to have a one-size-fits-all approach. You have something which is customized, which looks at different persona, the needs of, let's say, a tea wala, a tea vendor, versus a construction worker, a maid. So customized products. And I'm happy to share that PFRDA has been on a rampage of reforms in the last few months. And one of these is the multiple scheme framework, which looks at the non-government sector, which looks at specialized targeting, specialized products for these kind of people, which take into account small cash flows. Let's say the cyclical cash flows. So therefore, these schemes are pay as you go. You have income today, you pay. There is no fixed tenure or amount to be paid, no minimum amount to be paid. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is relatability. How do you sell a pension product to somebody who's earning something like 100 rupees for a delivery? Yeah. You don't make it too aspirational or something like a technical abstract thing. If you just say that, if you save something like 15 rupees a day from each transaction that you make on a Zomato platform. So let's say he gets 100 rupees per delivery and you make him put something like 5 rupees or 10 rupees from that for the NPS account, that is much more relatable. It's not a big sacrifice that he or she has to make. So these are small, small changes in the way we package the products, customized products, flexible products, that will help us.
You know, interesting, I mean, somebody getting 100 rupees, how easy or hard is it to convince them to put away 5 rupees, 10 rupees may sound small. It's 15, 20%, 15, 20 rupees is 15, 20% of what they've earned for them. I mean, how easy or how hard is it to convince them?
So, you know, I will not say it is easy at the outset because it requires a financial mindset. It is basically talking about very small, you know, the sacrifice that you make a day is not a very big thing. 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 15 rupees, an example that I gave. Let me just flip the answer in a little way. Let's say somebody has 4 packets of gutka, right? 1 packet of gutka costs what, 10 rupees? So if you package it in a way that you say instead of taking 1 packet of gutka a day, that 10 rupees you put aside, and at the end of 20 years, that 10 rupees per day that you saved, instead of putting in gutka, your health is better, and you have a small sum which you can take away. So it's the language, the simple language in which you attract people. You use influencers. For instance, there is this pension fund which has come up with a scheme for the platform workers. I will not name them. It's one of the biggest platform company. And what they're doing is they're using influencers whom they relate to. So use influencers whose language they understand and who act as role models coming from the same community. You visit the neighborhoods where they congregate and you sort of market the pensions there. For instance, after 8 p.m., if all the taxi drivers meet in a locality in one of the neighborhoods in Delhi, you sort of, you know, catch hold of them. So it's about the messaging, the easy way that you talk to them. Well, and like I said, small drops make an ocean.
Yeah, the relatability, the language, the human angle, all of that is very important and something that we hope to cover later as well. Of course, we have a banking correspondent here on the panel as well. But Mr. Ashish Kumar, Indian households inherently, I mean, we're saving less and we're borrowing more. I mean, to just put some numbers, the net household financial savings have come down to about 5.2% of the GDP, whereas the net borrowing, the household debt rather, that has gone up to about 41.9% of GDP. In this context, what role can regulators play and regulation play to make sure that these products are more affordable and simple and trustworthy, especially for the vulnerable families that need it most?
So basically, we have 3-4 perspectives by which we can go for this simplicity and affordability part. That is, one is that design of the product we have to ensure, and second is costing of that product, and also we have to create some trust, and we have to go for some behavioral change in their mindset.
Yeah.
So we have to cover all these 4 aspects first. So one by one, like design. So first we have to see that in any social security product, onboarding should be smooth. It should be digital onboarding. In case you require KYC, it should be digital KYC we can adopt. And also, we have to see that these people, since they have a different kind of cash flows, we may go for contribution which can be paid even on daily basis, weekly basis, on monthly basis, so that as per their cash flow, they can decide with, in which way they want to pay.
Yeah.
Right? And even for cost, sometimes these financial products or social security products, their distribution cost, their investment cost, and this onboarding cost, it becomes very high. And sometimes when these subscribers pay a certain amount, most of the this amount goes into these type of cost. So we need to see that whether government or some other ways we can finance this particular cost, so that whatever amount is saved is invested for social security purposes. And also for trust building, we need to have documents in regional languages. This distribution network should be using regional languages to build trust part. And also to change behavior part, we need to give them this nudge for old age income security or any kind of social security, we have to nudge them through proper channels, proper people who are engaged with them, like Anganwadi workers, Asha workers. These people are having very good interaction with rural people. And if we involve all these persons in having social security products in their life, it can do wonders.
Well, Mr. Vivek Tiwari, you represent the MFI community here as well. Just start by telling us, I mean, the sector, of course, is now serving, if I'm not wrong, 80 million plus households. 3.75 lakh crore, that's the kind of size we're talking about. But what do you think is the next step or a larger step that MFIs like you can take together with the community to go from just being credit providers to more resilience builders for this community?
Thank you so much, Ritu. I think as a microfinance institution, we have created a great network all across the country. As of now, I think around 400,000 villages are penetrated by microfinance institutions. We have covered almost 6.5 crore households in last 20 years. But sometimes because of regulation, because of bundling of the products, because of creating an awareness on the ground, it has its own cost. And the social security products, we don't offer anything in physical. It is a commitment that is being offered to the rural India. And if we are offering something as a commitment, they generally don't want to be the first one who is going to buy it, to bring trust, confidence, and also the availability of the funds, and easily they can invest in social security products. That models need to be designed. Years before, we have created adult education programs in India, 30, 40 years before. Now it is a time to create a digital literacy program, financial literacy program, and also we don't have in our textbooks, we have never focused on building products, awareness on the social security products. That is the grassroots from where we can create a culture. As an Indian society, we always have focus on saving. Rural India is totally, it was mostly dependent on saving first. In the last 20 years, with the effort of regulators and microfinance institutions and SHGs, now we have encouraged them saving and credit both. It is a time for the remittance, insurance, PF, and other financial products where the more awareness, more trust is required to build, and easy services, I think that is something required to build. And in microfinance institutions, we are having a huge network, but creating an awareness, taking an ownership, and in case of there is delay in service, because they have taken a loan from us, they expect that the services should be insured by the MFIs. That has also been, that is also a hurdle. In this case, I think entire ecosystem need to be worked together and creating awareness, creating governance, creating affordability of the products, and services, after-sale services. These are key for the further penetration and further I think, reaching out the masses.
Well, I hope that 80 million number becomes at least double or more in the next year or so. So we wish you the best there. But Mr. Manoj Gulati, quickly to come to you is reading about this study done by Greenpeace, I think, which said, some of the informal households in some of the settings spend as much as 15% of their monthly income just on safe water. I don't know if that is accurate of the wider ecosystem. This was just a sample data. But, it sounds more like a poverty tax. To what extent do you think WASH financing has helped flip this narrative that, rather than being a drain on income, it is really an investment in resilience?
To begin with, Ritu, I would think that 15% is also too little. Maybe even 30% of it goes into it, because it's not just the direct cost of 15% which you're paying, but also look at the indirect cost that you're putting in, the health cost that comes into play. UNICEF did a very good study some time back, and they said the average for a house that has a toilet facility, the average saving is 50,000 rupees per annum, both direct and indirect counted, which is direct savings into the family. I'll talk more about it, but let me, for those who are looking at water and sanitation as a fairly, like a niche product, what's the concept about? Globally, it started around 20 years back. And the idea was very clear that water and sanitation can be done as a financial product, aligned with the financial institutions who are working with the marginalized and the base of pyramid. They are the last mile connectivity who can solve the problem rather it being a government problem alone. Now, how successful it has been? Globally, it's been around $7.5 billion of lending has happened. In India itself, around $1.8 billion of lending has happened. That means that we've today reached a threshold point that where the product is well entrenched. Top 6, and I repeat, top 6 of the top of 10 MFIs of India have got water and sanitation as one of their loan categories. They have been able to understand, and there are 34 partners that we currently work with. These partners have been able to understand that water and sanitation is actually an income enabling loan. It's not a consumption loan. Traditionally we position loans as income generating and consumption loans, and then we get stuck into that mindset. This is something which creates opportunities. Let me expand on this for just a minute and humor me for this. When somebody in your family, and even in our families, let alone at the village and at the poor people, when somebody falls sick, who do you think has to take care of the family, that family member? It's the woman, right? That means on that day, she lost 800 rupees of dihadi. Simple. If water has to be collected from the water post, which is 20 minutes away, it feels very small, but if you're doing it, that's 2 hours of productivity lost. I was in Hyderabad, and a woman, when she got her water connection, I asked her, what is the benefit you're going to get? And she says, I'm going to get a full-time job now. I could not get it because every day I had to do 2 trips in between, and nobody was going to give me an 8-hour job. And to me, that was big, shift in the way the woman is getting empowered. And so the key issue over here is it is reducing, and today there was a very interesting conversation going on about know your customer, what it is. Yeah. We talk about, how we need to build it. That's the real burden to them. A few years back, we would talk to, when we would interview women, and we'd ask them, should you get a water and sanitation loan? And they said, number 1 reason was safety and security. Safety because you're going, and animals, and also male predators and all that stuff. Yeah. Today, the top 3 reasons are time saving, health, better health conditions, that means I get more productive days, and an income stability I get. I think that's why it's not a burden, but rather a key part of a portfolio that FI should be having it as a social security aspect to it. And I do believe, earlier, HP sir had talked about the idea that it's the way we want to incentivize our loan officers, the way we want them to focus on, makes the big shift in the way you get outcomes on water and sanitation. Many FIs say it's too difficult a product and we do not want to focus on it, but then they're also losing their emotional linkage with their clients. I'll stop at that.
Well, I'll ask the MFI next to you before I go back to Anil. Mr. Vivek Tiwari, is it too difficult a product? I mean, would you want to address some of the things that Mr. Gulati has raised?
I think he is absolutely right. The way water and sanitation has changed the lives in rural India in last 10, 12 years. I have partnered with them, I think, some 15 years, 14 years before. And the requirements have changed. Requirements are changed now. The way government has started the ODOF program, I think the focus on building the toilets all across the country, that has also helped the clear message that this is a practice that should be stopped. But the way they have, we were able to communicate further on the health issues, on the hygiene issues, on the social security issues, it has helped. I think it is a symbol of pride, it is a symbol of requirement, it is a symbol of time saving and health nowadays.
Okay, well, Mr. Anil Kumar, you've heard all of the panelists so far speak about all kinds of data on, savings, patchy protection, the kind of products that are needed, the kind of technology that is helping them. What are you seeing on the grassroots? I mean, what are the biggest hurdles when it comes to building resilience for these low-income households that you think policymakers must pay attention to?
Om Shri Manjunatha Nama. Thanks to Sa-Dhan for this opportunity. Actually, this topic is very comprehensive. That too for the country having 1.45 billion people. Resilience is, in terms of social, financial, from child care to old age people care, from health insurance to insurance. Such a vast program cannot be achieved so easily. Basically, if we divide into two parts, one is social security and financial security. Some of the points which is really, happy to celebrate by the country having such a largest population in the world. If you go to the ministry statistics, what social protection coverage India had in 2021, it was 24.1%. Within a span of 4 years, it has doubled, 48.4%. Ministry of Labor and Employment, released the statistics, by mentioning 920 million people covered at least one social program, one social protection scheme. Thanks to Government of India, under the able leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, India is having 34 major social security schemes program. None of the countries in the world is having such a largest social security schemes. You take Ayushman Bharat, largest healthcare product in the world. So only you talked about the hurdles and issues at the grassroots level. One way you look into the numbers of the coverage at field level, almost 100 crores, 65% of the population covered under any one of the social security scheme means really it is covered rural India. But at the same time, whether all the schemes reached out, you discussed with Madam regarding NPS, having lower rate. Like that, there are some of the schemes which has not really leveraged to the deserved beneficiaries because of the problem with the delivery channel. I wish to give our institution as an example here. Under the able leadership of visionary Pujya Dr. D. Virendra Hegadeji, SKDRDP is also partner for Government of India to channelize all its programs through Common Service Centers program, CSC program. I will give you one statistics, you will be wondering, all the participants. We have enrolled more than 1 crore 40 lakhs people in Karnataka for Ayushman Yojana. So 1.4 crore. So like that we enrolled around 60 lakhs e-Shram card. We are also a member for NPS. We are aggregator for PFRDA. So if at all the regulators or the government who are the policy makers for this kind of social security schemes, if they really engage all the players who are inside this wonderful program, then definitely it will deliver the deserved beneficiaries, because here are the people who are connecting with the people. Okay. Yes, of course, government is having its own delivery channel. Of course, it's working at its best capacity. But there are a lot of hurdles, and this is not the place to comment on that.
As someone who's working at the grassroots, and those are wonderful numbers, but we're talking about what's really happening on the ground. They check the boxes in terms of how many schemes, how many people covered. But one message to this wonderful audience that you pointed out, some of the challenges that you see at the grassroots level that could be easily resolved with some communication with this group of people here.
See, whatever the people we have connected with the grassroots level, the social security system has substantially increased. Even through our own systems, you talk about the financial security, we cover almost all of our SHG members with any micro insurance or even PMJJY, PMSBY or Atal Pension Yojana, or even we will go for whoever is borrowing from the banks through our SHG credit linkage program. Invariably, all of them are covered with the credit risk also. So none of our SHG member is suffering because of any incident in their life, death or healthcare. Even we are also running a largest healthcare program called Suraksha. So if at all a rural community is taken care by at least their health, somewhat financial security and social security, enough for India. Enough for India.
All right, Mr. Sood, quickly back to you on the kind of work, since you brought up self-help groups, SHGs. But tell us the kind of work NABARD is doing to turn them into actual empowerment hubs, and whether the definition of eligible households, that also needs to be relooked at if we want to achieve real inclusion when it comes to resilience for households.
So since you talked about SHGs, so now this has, in India, this has become one of the largest microfinance programs started in 1992 by NABARD. So initially, the SHGs, they focused on solving their own problems, on the problems of their members, addressing their social consumption requirements and all that. Now slowly and steadily, they have gone into livelihood and such other programs. Now the time has come for us to use this social capital for the good of the other people, particularly in the rural areas. Now we have around 1.5 crore SHGs covering around 17 crore households. So we have a very good social capital which can be used. And through NRLM, the effort has been made to use the power of these SHGs for driving various initiatives, for taking them to the ground level. Now, because some of the other panelists, they also indicated the power of influencers. So I think these SHGs can be used as influencer at the ground level, as the ground level delivery channels.
The original influencers, if I call them that.
Because communication at the ground level, particularly in the rural area, is so important.
Yeah.
See, whatever the scheme you may drive, unless you are able to communicate with the people, the effectiveness of this, how to use it, how to renew it, and how to take it forward. So without this, I think it is very difficult. And as the person from SKDRDP has also said, that these people, apart from their own uses, they have to be used for driving these initiatives at the ground level. And because of their ground level understanding and about the pulse of the people, they can be very, very effective, and they have to be used as multi-service community organizations where they serve various needs. They service credit needs, they serve the social needs also. So I think they can be used as a very good There are some issues in SHGs which we are also trying to address. There are some very ultra poor people whose credit requirement and social security requirements are not being addressed. So we are running one project called GRIP, Graduated Rural Income Program. So we are trying to address the requirement of these people through returnable grant. And then there is another initiative that we are driving is Money Purse Program. So in SHGs, what is happening is that they are having communication with the banks. But when they are doing the interlending between SHGs, I mean, among the SHG members, then their transactions are not recorded anywhere, which affects their future prospects for seeking credit. Yeah. So through this pilot, we are trying to address these issues. So I think we need a total ecosystem where we need to use these services of these people for driving, for taking these initiatives to the ground level.
Yeah, well, like I said, the original influencers are these self-help groups, and they can really drive a change. But Ms. Suparna, Tandon, I mean, the biggest need, and some of you highlighted this as well, the informal sector's biggest need today is flexibility. Whether that is their cash flows, their incomes are seasonal, they're uncertain, they're small. Just give us a sense of how products are being redesigned to ensure that they work with the rhythm rather than against it.
So I'll just go back to what I spoke earlier, the fact that there is a huge amount of reform process being undertaken by PFRDA. So first is the ease of the onboarding process and looking at targeting different customer segments with different products depending on their risk appetite. So the question is not that there is lack of savings. As Indians, we save. I mean, if you look at the amount of money in savings banks, it's about, in 70 trillion. If you look at the Tandon accounts, it's about 3 trillion. I mean, the small savings schemes, and also as a community we save. The question is how easy and how in your face is the product and how easily you can onboard. What is the cost of onboarding, the transaction cost? So having said all these things, if you could look for onboarding, through the electronic means, using an app or a portal, there is no cost of onboarding, right? There's no transaction cost. So that is the first thing. The second thing is that there is no rule that you have to put money every month or every quarter. If you have money in a year, you put in. If you have money in a quarter, you put in. So that's the flexibility that has been afforded. Third is the opt-in, opt-out scheme. So there are products being envisaged where a person opts in to pay for a certain number of months, any amount, according to his capacity. And then he opts out of paying because suddenly the season is over and he's out of work. So, I mean, if you look at the latest Team Lease report, this year during the festival season, more than 15 to 20% more gig workers were employed. And they're all going to be out of work in the month of January and onwards because there's going to be a slump. So either these people go to their villages, do agricultural work, or they shift from one sector to another, and the cash flows come down. So therefore, the product has to match their migration pattern. So easy KYC onboarding, easy onboarding by a click of a button without any cost, having the charges which are charged on the total amount or the AUM in the corpus rather than per transaction, which makes it very, very uneconomical for them. So these are some of the design changes which are required. This is at the entry point. Going forward, we all know that there are emergent needs for the people in the bottom percentile of the income or consumption households. So in case of emergent needs, there is this, the ability or they are allowed to make partial withdrawals, although not much, but something like 3 or 4 times in the entire lifetime of the subscriber. And also, if there is a provision for total exit, suppose the corpus is somewhere around 2.5 lakh crore, something like that, they can exit. So the whole thing is having low entry and exit barriers, having transparency, having apps which give them the data which help them to follow how their corpus is growing, how the amount is growing. Also positioning products according to the goals in their lives. Instead of saying, you want to, and the messaging changes depending on whether you're talking to a person from a rural area or a migrant worker in Delhi or Mumbai, right? Yeah. So how do you help them link to their goals? Like in rural areas, you say, you lived your life with dignity and you continue to live your life with dignity without depending on your children. The messaging could be different. You might save for your daughter's marriage or to build a house when you go back to your village. So this kind of, the whole way we look at pension from the traditional one-size-fits-all conservative top-down strategy needs to change. Yeah. And we need to look at the, making it more differentiated.
And that's an interesting point you raise. And Mr. Ashish Kumar, if you could take that forward, because migration really is India's invisible economy today. But how can pension products, how can these saving products be made more portable? How we can use UPI everywhere. Can these products travel?
In schemes of PFRDA, basically this NPS, we are having this provision of migration, and people can shift from one sector to another sector with having same PRAN. So there is no change in account number, and they can easily migrate from one sector to another sector. Like somebody is working in farms, and he's having one all citizen sector account, and suddenly he got selected in some government job, he can shift same NPS account to government sector. But if we see the large picture at the nation level, there are various schemes, mostly pension schemes, which are supported by state government for their residents. And at the same time, we are having EPFO, we are having NPS schemes. And whenever any person leaves that particular territory or that particular firm, their corpus needs to be withdrawn. So I think that is not a correct way. Ideally, it should, their pension corpus should be shifted to next set of schemes, so that those corpus which is accumulated over a period of time do not get waste for something unnecessary. So we need to capture some, like somebody is having, in EPFO, somebody is having 5 lakhs corpus and he has left that particular job and moved to government sector. Now NPS is mandatory for this person. So ideally this 5 lakh EPFO corpus should be shifted to his NPS account.
Yeah.
So this we need to ensure. I think that is the more important point we can.
Well, you know, Mr. Vivek Tiwari, let's also talk about briefly about the role of technology and how that is aiding in this entire conversation that we're having. You as an MFI work with a whole lot of your clients' data. What kind of predictive analysis AI technology are you using to ensure that you can step in before their distress actually spirals into a default to help them in this resilience journey?
I think in current digital era, the technology and AI is going to help us a lot. And because microfinance institutions, we meet our customers almost twice a month, at least once in a month, at least 12 to 24 times every year. And even before data, we are able to understand the financial condition of the families. We are able to understand the, if there is some heat waves are there, some natural calamities are there, or something happening in that particular area, at least we are able to assess that in which particular month or quarter or in particular time, the cash flows are going to be exhausted more, in which particular time they are having the crops are ready, when the cash flows are better, and all these things are, we are able to capture up to certain extent, limited to our loans and our requirements. But as a sector, we can support the government that in digitizing the data, capturing more information from the rural India for the data analytics and and designing better products for the rural India, so that the technology can be appropriately used and anyone want to buy a product, just like in current scenario, even at all the PIN codes, the delivery channels are almost open, means Blinkit and everything is working almost in most of the villages in current scenario. In similar way, I think there can be a platform where most of the products are available, their benefits are available. We all can create a ground awareness, and based on that, they can be encouraged, and even the institutions can be benefited by providing services to these customers, these villages, and it can be win-win for both of us on one time, because we are going to the villages just for, it is one-way traffic. We are just disbursing the loans and we are coming back. We are having too much information, but these are not captured beyond the loans. If we are able to digitize this, even that is going to help our products, and also in terms of cross-selling of other financial products, and even the institutions can fund it as per their cash flows, so that it is more affordable for them, it is more useful for them, and the reach can be increased. So that potential is there, and I think the technology is going to play a very crucial role in coming 3 to 5 years. And what problems we are assessing today, I think with the young generations and the current generations, which is using WhatsApp and Facebook and LinkedIn, I think TikTok, I think that problem will be very much resolved in next 3 to 5 years.
All right. right? Mr. Gulati, last you spoke about how wash loans have really transformed the resilience of households, but what's the next frontier after that? Can we add a safety net? Can we look at adding more insurance product to these kind of, options out there? What do you think will be the next frontier?
That's an interesting question. I think I want to, before I get into the insurance side, let's talk about what are the next frontiers. If you think about it, the journey that I talked about, the 7 million loans that we have done, over $1.8 billion lending in India, it's come through an evolution by itself. It started with just with MFIs taking part into it, offering it to their clients. But today, it's a combination of MFIs, it's NBFC MFIs, it's BCs that are there, business correspondents that are there, banks, small finance banks, both private as well as public banks that have got into it. It's the SRLMs that have got into it. Each one is catering to a different client, like Sood Saab said, it's catering to a different client base, ultra poor to a little more on the upper end. And each one of them has a need. So the constitution of wash financing has itself evolved. Second, what is today, what came out initially was, wash is not just a one type of loan, it's a product category. When a person, and that's why I initially talked about it being a little difficult, because it's a product category you're getting into it. When you talk about wash, you're talking about roof rainwater harvesting, you're talking about toilet retrofitting, you're talking about toilet improvements. So government 10 years back came up with the SBM program, we all know of that. Yeah. And it's 10 years back, and it was a 20,000 rupee toilet or a 12,000 rupee toilet. How long do you think that lasted? And is the government going to restart the program of making new toilets? No, that's not what their role should be. It's the financial markets that has taken over doing toilet renovation loans. Yeah. So there's a lot of evolution that has happened into it. Going forward, because of the scale that we have reached, there are multiple places that I see things will happen in the next 3 to 5 years. I see the aspect of school financing, which is now becoming even more interesting with private players coming into it. Yeah. That will be a very interesting front to have, where schools do not have, the quality of toilets in our schools is so bad that eventually these are just locked toilets that are there, and the children are still going outside. So that will change with this kind of support. Affordable finance, HFCs will become a major playing field. You have to think about it. If somebody is making a house, their mindset is still in the old framework where they'll say, "Ghar bana lenge, but I need toilet, we'll make one and then baad mein bana lenge." So finding that gap financing to make sure that that toilet is made at the same time is a critical aspect, and I think a lot of work will happen with a lot of HFCs in it. I also see a lot of work in MSME work, because as your sector grows, yeah, the MSME sector is also growing into it. So NBFCs, which are focusing on MSMEs, will have a lot of work focused primarily on SDG 6, which is wash. Yeah. And finally, I think capital will flow in a very different way. Currently, the capital has flown, come into the system is from the FIs have deployed their own funds, what is available to them, and part of it they are used it. This is the time where we are going to find, and I have to recognize NABARD for this, which 2020 gave the $800 million refinancing program, which kicked a lot of energy into it as a priority sector. And I think what will happen is that now bonds are going to become, and Shaji sir talked about it in the morning, that bonds and a social impact bond is going to be a key driver into it. Bonds in both ways, with private participation, players like Northern Arc, other players, as well as public, bonds, which will be in both local currency and US, will play a big role into it. So a lot of impact investors are going to come into it. And we do keep getting this interest coming from various global impact investors, and bond might be the way to enter the market at this stage. So there's a lot of exciting stuff happening. I can keep going on. I'll give it back to you.
No, and we want to hear more of this, but of course, and I hope it translates into real change on the ground, all this financing from all kinds of institutions coming in. But Mr. Anil Kumar, lots of talk about technology through, the last few minutes, but technology, of course, can scale. But relationships is what will really build resilience. In your work, how do you really preserve the human element? And you very much work with the human element, we understand. So that, while you're also digitizing that last mile social security.
Yeah, see, technology and human intervention should be in an optimal leverage if we are serving for a rural community.
Yeah.
Technology, digitalization is required for transparency, speed, accuracy, and uniformity. But it won't do everything. How we have to educate the people, create awareness, technology will not touch heart. Only human intervention only can touch heart. So you take the example of SKDRDP. SKDRDP is having one side a sophisticated, innovative technology digital system. Our server is directly connected to my bank servers through API integrations. My SHG members, my women members are passing their SHG resolution through biometric authentication. Even Parliament is not having that system. So that is the level of technology which SKDRDP SHG model is following. Completely digital transactions, end-to-end user verifications, utilization verification through geotag, everything is, fantastic and sophisticated technology. But at the same time, SKDRDP is having 45,000 people. Each village is having 6 people. Because if we are really handhold our people, I don't know how many years we require, then only whatever the scheme program, the real objective is going to serve. Otherwise, if we leave things to the technology, gone.
Gone.
So that is how we optimally leverage both. It should be a wonderful blending to reach the people. The human interventions is required to create a proper awareness and human touch. And at the same time, technology is required for speedy, uniformity, transparent, and cost saving also.
And cost saving, of course. We're running out of time, so just quick answers from all of you. Final closing thoughts. Mr. Sood, starting with you. The role of partnerships between all of these people on the stage and what they represent, what do you think could make resilience a more national movement? What kind of partnerships would you want to see?
See, basically, partnerships among various partners like banks, government departments, and then the community organizations. So all of them, they play different roles. For example, if you talk of government, then they are enablers and scalers. They give kind of ecosystem services. If you talk of MFIs, then they provide the last mile. And if you talk of private people and fintechs, then they provide the digital platforms. So I think the ecosystem approach where all these partners, they are brought on the common understanding and on a common platform. So that would lead to a very optimal situation. As Mr. Anil told, that we need to have a phygital approach, physical as well as digital. Digital alone is not going to work. For example, what we did for regional rural banks, we did Jan Suraksha portal for onboarding people for the social security program. And within 1 year, we could, the RRBs could onboard 52 lakh people within 1 year. So earlier that number was almost negligible. So that is the power. But when it comes to communication, particularly in the rural area, then physical presence of the people, where your social capital can be leveraged for this. That is required. Thank you.
Well, no doubt. Mr. Suparna, Tandon, if you had to pick one lever for regulators that will most quickly democratize the access to affordable social security, what would that be?
One lever from the regulator?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would possibly be using community-based kind of delivery channels and to sort of scale up the numbers. And that could differ depending on, again, which is the sector that you're talking about. So partnerships is something one should look at.
Yeah.
It could be the farmer-producer companies to increase the, in rural areas, working with the cooperatives, the SHG federations. So that would be one type. And then the other way you sort of to scale up is using the gig economy, where you leverage platforms like Urban Company and Zomato and all that. So basically, that will be the first lever that I would talk about, and that is where you scale up the numbers.
Okay, Mr. Ashish Kumar, what in your experience is the most underestimated barrier to social security? I mean, are we talking about income, information, institutional design, or something else?
Can you repeat?
What is the most underestimated barrier to household resilience? I mean, what could really unlock resilience? What to your mind is the one product or policy shift?
Basically, what I find that people underestimate that there is a need of old age income security. People think that their son, their daughter, they will be taking care of them. But currently, nobody takes care of their parents as of now in terms of giving them some cash for their own expenses. So that is, I think, we need to see that we need to have this old age income security, and one has to understand that life expectancy is increasing, right? And whatever period we are contributing to our working life, suppose 25 to 35, 60 years, that is a 35 years period. So life expectancy is increasing in such a way that your working life period is becoming equal to your post-60 period.
Yeah.
So when you are working, you have to take care of that period as well.
Yeah.
So we need to think in that way.
Save for the long term, not just for immediate goals as well.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Vivek Tiwari, MFIs are already distributing credit at scale. What is the one change that is needed to really enable them to distribute security at scale, you think?
I think for the distribution of security products, the collaborations are important. The relationship between client and MFIs, that is a trusted relationship that can be leveraged. The distribution network should be created in such a way, it is low margin but high volume, and assuring the services post, I think that is important, and we can scale it up, and social security products can be enhanced at any level in India. We are seeing the rooftop financing, we are seeing the EV financing, we are seeing the, I think, the PF through Sukanya Yojana, and many more products are there from the government.
Yeah.
But right education at right platform and right services, they are quite key, and we may be able to achieve the goal of, I think, secure India in next 5-7 years, but it needs collaboration from government, regulator, and private players.
I'm repeatedly hearing partnerships across all of you, and I hope you have some conversations to cement those after this panel. Mr. Anil Kumar, you work closely with communities, so final thoughts and insight you've learned on the grassroots level that often policymakers sitting here in Delhi or other deciders in Bombay may be missing.
You're putting me in trouble.
Of course, I don't see any regulators here apart from those on the stage. You're perfectly safe.
Yeah. See, I can put in a different way. Policymaker usually look for 1D, that is design. But of course, there are 3 Ds. Design, delivery to deserved beneficiaries. If they end their policy making for any program or the project for making a design, then launching, then you know what is the result of that. So if they have comprehensive, plan of actions, till how this program or scheme is going to reach the deserved beneficiary, then definitely it would be a wonderful success. And I don't know how many policy makers are having open ears once they launch any program. Once they launch program, that's the end. That's the end. Okay, they don't open their ears because there are a lot of amendments are required or changes are required, value additions are required. So usually that won't happen.
Well, here's hoping their eyes and ears are open to the realities on the ground. But quickly, Mr. Gulati, before we close, and I know you have a video to share with us, because what I wanted to ask you is a human story to leave us all with, where these products have made a real difference to people's lives. I think you have a video to play for us.
Yeah, I'll play the video, which I think will give you a great sense. I also want to take a minute you asked about the insurance one.
Yeah.
And micro-insurance is another great playing field that is happening. FIs have got into it not completely at this stage. If you look at a health insurance, and if we can connect water and sanitation with the micro-insurance group, FIs can play a pivotal bridging part in both the sides. If you have a toilet, you get a better rate. For the poor, even a 25 to 50 rupees concession on the insurance is a big one, and for the insurance company, having a toilet means so much of preventive life, so much of water diseases not happening in those houses. So it's a win-win for everybody in the process, from the client to the FI to the micro-insurance company. I wanted to bring that. It's a long-term story. Maybe the video will speak more than my story. If I narrate it, let's see the video, and then I can tell another story if there's time permitted. Chandan?
ನಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು ರೀ ಶಾರವ ಬಸವಾನಿ ಪಟ್ಯಾಳಿ ರೀ. ನಾವು ಶಿವ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ದಾಗ ಇರ್ತೇವೆ. ನಾವು ಆಶಾ ವರ್ಕರ್ ರೀ.
ಗೌರವ ಉಗುಡಿ ಐಗೋಳ್ರಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಊರು ಅರ್ಜುನ್ ವಾಡ್ರಿ.
ನಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು ಸುಜಾತ ಗಂಗಪ್ಪ ಹಳ್ಳಿ ಮಟ್ಟವೆ, ಊರು ಯಾದಗೂಡು. ಟಾಯ್ಲೆಟ್ ಇಲ್ದಾಗ ಸರ ನಮಗೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಭಾಳ ಆಗೈತೆ ಸರ. ಹೊಲ್ದಾಗ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಆ ಕಡೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಜನ ಭಾಳವೆ, ಹೊಲದಾಗ ಮಳೆ ಆಗೋದ್ವಿ. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗುಡ್ಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕ್ರಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ 10 ರಿಂದ 15 ನಿಮಿಷ ಆಗ್ತೈತ್ರಿ. ನಾವು ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಗುಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತೈತ್ರಿ. ಮಳೆಯಾಗ ತೋರ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನೆಗಡಿ ಕೆಮ್ಮ ಜಾಸ್ತಿನೂ ಬರ್ತೈತ್ರಿ. ಬಿಸಿಲಿಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರೂ ದೂರನ ಅಂತ ತ್ರಾಸ ಆಗ್ತೈತ್ರಿ.
ಅದು ಹೊರಗೆ ಹೋಗೋಣ ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೊಲ್ದಾಗ ಘಾನಿ ಅನ್ಸೋದ್ರ. ನಾವು ದಾಟಿ ಹೋಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಘಾನಿ ಅನ್ಸೋದ್ರಿ.
ಟಾಯ್ಲೆಟ್ ಸಂಬಂಧ 30,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಲೋನ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ವಿ, ಟಾಯ್ಲೆಟ್ ಕಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಚಲೋ ಆಗಿದೆ. ನಮ್ಗೆ IDPC ಹಿಂಗಿನವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿರಿ. ಅವ್ರು ಸರ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಫೀಸಿಗೆ ಬರ್ರಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಆಫೀಸಿಗೆ ಕರೆಸಿರಿ, ಲೋನ್ ಕೊಟ್ರಿ. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲೇ ಶೌಚಾಲಯಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಒಂದು 30,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಡತ್ತೀವಿ ರೀ, ತಗೋರಿ ಅಕ್ಕಾರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿರಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಗೆ ಲೋನ್ ಜಮಾ ಮಾಡಿರಿ. ಅದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ತಿಂಗಳ ಕಟ್ಕೊತ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವ್ರಿ. ಈಗ
ಅನನ ನಾವು ಗೋಬರಿಗೆ ಸಂಡಾಸ ಗೋಬರ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸ ಕಟ್ಸಿದ್ರಿ. ಸಂಘದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಸಾಲ ತೆಗೆದ್ರಿ. ನಾವು ಅದರಿಂದ IDFCರ್ಗಳು ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಟೈಮ್ ಸಿರಿ ಲೋನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದಾರ್ರಿ.
ಬದುಕು ಸೈಡ್ ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ಗಳಿಗೂ ಲೋನ್ ತಗೋವಿ, ಟಾಯ್ಲೆಟು ಕಟ್ಕೋವಿ, ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಮತ್ತು ಸಂಕ್ರಾಂತಿ ರೋಗದಿಂದ ತಡೆಗಟ್ತೈತಿ, ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗೈತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಲೋನ. ಆಗೈತ್ರಿ, ಅದ್ರ ಕಟ್ಟೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಚಲೋ ಆಗೈತ್ರಿ. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಟೈಮಿಂಗು ಚಲೋ ಆಗೈತ್ರಿ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋಗಿವಿ.
ಮತ್ತು ಈಗ ನಾವು ಟಾಯ್ಲೆಟ್ ಕಟ್ಟಾನ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಚಲೋ ಆಗೈತೆ ರೀ. ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ತಿರುಗಾಡೋದು. ನಮಗೆ ಟಾಯ್ಲೆಟ್ ಕಟ್ಟಾನ ರೀ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ದಗದ್ ದೌಡಾಗ್ತೈತೆ ರೀ. ಹೊರಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದು ಟೈಮ್ ಇರ್ತೈತೆ ರೀ. ಈಗ ಕೆಲಸ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚಲೋ ಐತ್ರಿ. ಎಲ್ಲ ದನಗಳು ಪನ್ಗಳು ದೌಡ್ ಉಸಾಬರಿ ಆಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತು ಹೊಲ್ದಾಗ ಹೋಗಿ ತಯಾರದೇವ್ರಿ ನಾವು.
ಮತ್ತು ಸೊಳ್ಳೆ, ಡೆಂಗ್ಯೂ ಮತ್ತು ಸಾಂಕ್ರಾಮಿಕ ರೋಗಗಳಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗೈತವೆ. ಟಾಯ್ಲೆಟ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮಗೇನೂ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಚಲೋ ಆಗೈತಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಆಶಾ ವರ್ಕರ್ ಆಗಿ ಶೌಚಾಲಯ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಮನೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊರತ್ ಹೇಳೇವ್ರಿ.
You know, I just want to take a minute more. This is a program that Sa-Dhan and Water.org did jointly. And IDF Financials is not a very large, by any standard, not a very large financial institution. Yeah. But the commitment that they gave to it, to building a solution for the woman and emotionally connecting with the woman is so big. And I encourage all financial institutions, whatever be the type, if you're connecting with the woman, think of this product.
Well, it's inspiring to see this work, and kudos to all of you in the room that are taking this forward. A big round of applause to all of our panelists. Thank you all for your time, for candidly sharing some ideas, which I hope the audience has a lot to take away. And thank you all for being such a wonderful and patient audience. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, moderator of the session, and thank you so much, eminent speakers of the session. Absolutely illuminating and very engaging session. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to our distinguished speakers and also our moderator of the session, who has wonderfully conducted and concluded the session. Ladies and gentlemen, just to make this moment a little more memorable, we'd like to present mementos on behalf of Sa-Dhan. May I request Gigi Ma'am and Sir to kindly join us onto the stage and present mementos. Ladies and gentlemen, we are presenting a memento to Dr. Ajay Kumar Sood. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us this evening and also sharing your valuable thoughts with us. With a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, we thank Dr. Ajay Kumar Sood. Dr. Ajay Kumar Sood. We now thank Ms. Suparna Tandon. Thank you, ma'am. A big thank you to Mr. Ashish Kumar. Thank you so much, sir. We also thank Mr. Vivek Tiwari. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us this evening and sharing your valuable thoughts with us. A big thank you to Mr. Manoj Gulati. Thank you so much, sir. And we also thank Mr. Anil Kumar. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for the moderator of the session, Ms. Ritu Singh. Thank you so much for a wonderful session, moderator of the session. May I request Ms. Ritu Singh to kindly step forward. Thank you so much. May I request our panelists of the session to kindly step forward for a group photograph, please. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we conclude our plenary session. And may I also request you a quick reminder for the CSR Initiative Participant Choice Award. May I request you to kindly cast your vote. Please make use of the ballot box, which is right on the registration desk. With that, we conclude our, not just our session, but also day 1 of 20th Sa-Dhan National Conference on Inclusive Growth. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a wonderful day.